Let me start first of all, and say that Gavi is trying to respond, and I think you'll see some similarities with Peter's comments afterwards because we work as sister organizations on this. So the first thing that we did was we are both supporters of health systems in Africa, and I must say that if you think about the health systems that we provide on immunization. Right now, immunization is the most widely distributed of all health interventions. It reaches, for the routine system, about 90% of families, and that's really important. Obviously, our longer-term goal is to try to get that to 100%, which is going to be critical to deal with epidemics. But when this first happened, we immediately reallocated some of our health systems money, 10% of it, for countries to be able to buy PPE, to be able to buy diagnostics, not because that's our core mandate, but because we thought we could react quickly and be flexible. And the Global Fund did something similar, and I'm sure Peter will talk about that. The importance of that, and what's interesting, is that a number of countries actually didn't want to reallocate because they were worried about having that funding for health systems. Second important point we did is to really try to make sure that routine immunization gets prioritized. Calypso already gave some statistics about what happens if you stop routine immunization. And of course, this is one of our worries. You already heard from the commissioner about lockdowns of airports. For example, the underbelly capacity went from quite adequate down 80% in the third week of March. We began to have problems with supply chain. We also have a demand problem where parents are not wanting to step forward. But the WHO's overall recommendation on this is keep routine running as much as you can, stop preventive campaigns, and when outbreaks occur, your response should be done on a case-by-case basis based upon where it is. So that's what we're trying to do. But invariably, we're seeing now, because campaigns have been stopped, we're seeing population immunity go down because we're seeing clinic workers being distracted and pulled for the COVID response. We're seeing numbers come down. And so after lockdowns, we have to be prepared to immediately go back in and do catch-up campaigns. And there's going to be an urgency to that. We did this in West Africa post the Ebola outbreak is, if outbreaks haven't occurred by then, how do we get population immunity up quick enough to prevent those outbreaks? Of course, eventually you want to make sure that immunization gets back to where it was, if not better. And one of the silver linings might be stronger systems. And then the fourth piece that we're thinking about is the issue of COVID vaccines. And we've already heard a little bit of this ACT accelerating COVID tools effort that's going on. That started about 2 weeks ago under the leadership of WHO, and I'm sure Peter will talk about that as well. We were both there for that launch. And then it really took another boost when the EC held a pledging conference for the global coronavirus response, where they had over 30 heads of state, many of the countries represented. And one of the important messages I want to give from that is that global access was on everybody's mind. That heartened me because this is going to be very important. So as we're thinking about vaccines, the good news is that the science is moving forward incredibly fast. There's more than 100 vaccines now in development. There are already 8 in clinical trials, a couple of them already moving into phase 2 trials. The challenge for us is going to be making sure that there is a commitment to global access, that there is scaled up manufacturing that has to occur now to be in a position to produce large enough vaccines for everybody. And one of the things that Gavi is responsible for in leading on the vaccine pillar, along with CEPI, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness and Innovation, is how we might create an advanced market commitment to help with access. So 2 components that are important. One, global access, making sure there is the best vaccines available for everyone in the world. Of course, day one, there won't be enough, but how do we phase that out as a prioritized action with the normative leadership of WHO? But the second one, very relevant for what we're talking about, is how do we make sure there's financing available to help poorer countries pay for access to vaccines, and also to strengthen their health systems if necessary. Obviously, we have a distributive system for vaccines. We have cold chain, which may be required, but this may need to be enhanced based upon the volume of vaccines, and also will obviously be changing who gets vaccinated here, not just perhaps in outbreak settings, healthcare workers, but also the elderly or people with chronic diseases. So these are some of the activities that are currently being prepared. We can talk about all of those in the questions and answers, but really just to finish, to say this is an unprecedented time. And as we think about this, this is a global problem that needs a global solution. If we don't optimize globally, we will not have the best science. And that's true for every country in the world. We want to understand where the best science is and then scale that up and make it available to everyone. And we're only safe if the whole world is safe, because if there are places with reservoir of virus that can continue to spread back to other parts of the world or get more virulent or mutate, that's not a good situation globally. So some of those mindset changes are really important during this period as well.